Hi everyone. I hope you're all well and got home safely after the conference. Um, a few things popped up in my head after we had our sort of chat at the end. And I'd just like to share with you what sort of came to me. It's just obviously just my perspective, and I'm not. Um, it's not in any way meant for you to take this on board. It's just for you to understand a perspective. Okay. Um, the I just want to bring up three areas. Firstly, that to put everything into context, at a global level, there are a number of areas of human awareness or consciousness which are shifting, and that includes people becoming aware that things aren't quite right and that something different needs to come into the play. And this is cutting across a number of different arenas of human experience, including politics, education, food, business, sports, the media, um, Hollywood, music, and even finance, which is where you come into it. And so, in all of these areas, there are folks like yourself who have seen and understood a different perspective and are trying to share that perspective with others. And so, this sort of puts it in the round, if you see what I mean. And your part of this is very important because actually all the other factors are very much dependent on finance and awareness of finance and money issues. The second thing is that, and again, I don't know how you guys do your work or your programs, but I want to share with you what we did in our world of public health and permaculture. So the people, if you think of a normal distribution, you have a range of views in a population. Some people are at the leading edge, and some people are at the polar opposite. And so the people at the leading edge already know this stuff. They've got it. The people just slightly after the leading edge, with a bit of education, they get it. The vast majority of people are in the middle of that distribution, and they need a different type of packaging of the message to get the message across. And right at the very bottom, there are people who will never get it, they never will understand it, and there's no point wasting your energy on them. So, what we found, for example, in permaculture is that the people who already knew how to grow food were doing this and were streets ahead of everybody else. There are a large number of people who really are interested in doing this, but they don't know how. And that's where educational programs and awareness comes in. But the people in the middle, which is the greatest majority of all of the population, need the whole thing repackaged. And so instead of saying how to grow fresh veg and don't have to pay money at the supermarket, or how to enjoy seasonal food all time of the year, the way in which you can pitch permaculture and in particular growing vegetables to that group is how to feed your kids for $10 a year. Now that'll get people, but the idea of growing fresh veg and doing stuff from seeds, that doesn't appeal to them. It's the money bit which actually matters. And likewise, we found the same thing with cigarette smoking, for example, where you could tell people about the health effects and they'd stop. But a lot of people, it was actually the financial side of it which made them think. Now, I'm sure you've got a range of approaches with your programs, but in reality, I mean, this might be a point of reflection for you to consider what you offer to see whether maybe that you cover all those groups, or maybe if not, then there might be another way of getting traction with a different population. And the very last thing I just want to touch on was that the idea, I think I mentioned to you in the group, that things are going to get tricky, um, is very much part of the bigger picture. And the most important thing I want to tell you is that whatever happens is not to bring fear into this, because the minute you bring fear, all sorts of other things unravel, including the energy around you and the way in which you approach things. And frankly speaking, fear attracts fear, and so it doesn't help in the long run or in the round. The good news is that things are, as I said, things need to be disrupted, or at least certainly destroyed, before the new approaches to doing things will come through. And finance systems in general will be one of the very last things to fall, because it's the linchpin which brings everything together. Okay? Anyway, I've rattled on enough, and I'll leave this with you to consider and accept, or even reject it if you wish. I don't mind. But as before, I'm very, very, very pleased to have met you guys. And more importantly, it's just so wonderful to hear what we've been picking up on the meditation psychic channeling side, but coming from a economics perspective and a real world understanding of finance. Okay. All the best. Love and blessings to you all. And look forward to seeing you perhaps next year. Okay. Cheerio. Bye-bye.